I got a question for you. And it's a question that I've asked many, many times. I've asked you, I've asked many, many people. And the question is this. Are you on crack?
4 simple words. Are you on crack? Little doubt if you've been here in the past 10 years and you've heard Pastor Paul speak on Sunday mornings, you have heard that question from this very pulpit right here. You might have heard it so many times you've really asked yourself and questioned, am I on crack? Which got me to thinking, maybe in this case the questioner should be the one being asked that question. I wanted to investigate this a little bit further. And so my investigation led me to this man, Warren Sparks, a faithful friend and deacon, and also Jamie Duke, associate pastor here at First Baptist Church Los Alamos.
The only problem I have is that his poor choice of football teams that he roots for. Not only that, but this poor choice of his favorite football players. This goes back to Neon Deion Sanders, and then there was Michael Irvin, and finally Terrell Owens. And the common theme that I noticed is that all of these players were on crack. And so I wanted to know, Paul, are you on crack?
That's a great question. You know, being that he was raised in Arlington, Texas, and went to Texas Ranger games, you would think that he would have a love of the Texas Rangers. But man, he parades around here with this Yankees gear. And what's that all about? I mean, Paul, and the only thing I could think of was, you know, how Jesus' admonition, you know, in Matthew 5, where he basically says that we should let our yes be yes and our no be no. Anything more than this is from the evil one.
The next part of my quest led me right here to the pews, the audience of Paul's sermons. Tom Dufresne shares his story with you now.
Is Paul on crack? I think he might be on crack. I know he's definitely addicted to some things like food. He's always bringing up pie and bread and gravy, and that's just in one sermon. I mean, every week it's lasagna, it's spaghetti. I sit there, I get hungry, and the worst part is I'm a diabetic, and I can't eat that food, and he just makes me want it so bad.
I'm here at the Cunningham household because I wanted to find out firsthand for myself with my own 2 eyes how this question has affected the family. What I found was some deeply painful, emotional, and some horrific stories.
Is Paul on crack? You know, a couple of things do come to mind when you ask me that. First thing that just really hits my mind, it was quite painful. In fact, we were in Oklahoma, and this photo showed up of Paul with Hillary Clinton, and it showed up in a public place, and I don't even know when he had that photo taken. It was kind of a painful time. Paul's fashion sense, you know, the homemade shirt, the homemade sports coat. He was smiling like I think he really did like it, that it was really cool at the time. The Unabomber glasses, particularly when he had those turned into sunglasses, totally Unabomber. Who can pass up the mullet? The mullet, yes. Business in front, party in back. I don't think so, Paul. Do you really need me to go on? I think it all speaks for itself.
Has your dad ever asked you if you were on crack?
Well, Mike, about a year and a half ago, I was dating this smoking gorgeous guy. He just was perfect. He had long flowing mullet. He had the big sunglasses. And I figured, you know, my dad might like him because my dad's had a mullet. He's had the big sunglasses. He came home one day and I was just sitting there with my boyfriend, and He looked at me, he was like, Abby, are you on crack for dating that boy? I can't handle this.
I'm Maximus, a house dog in the Cunningham family. You may know me from Paul's sermons, always getting on me for eating food off of the table, or a book, anything else laying out that shouldn't be. To be fair, you're the one that left it out in the first place, Paul. And to be honest, I'm a dog. Paul uses me in ransom photos and any other nonsense going on in the time.
And really? You thought it would be a good idea to eat the entire batch of no-bake cookies in one sitting? I wonder what Tony Horton and P90X will have to say about that on Monday. I reckon he'll ask, are you on crack?
The last part of my journey led me to Paul's sons, Mick and Christopher. Their story, dramatic and emotional, but I must warn you, what you're about to see is quite graphic and disturbing.
Look at who I have to consider my brother and sister. The apes. Mike, these are my brother and sister in my dad's eyes. Mr. Cornelius and Mrs. Zara.
As soon as he got those dolls, he basically told us we must call him Mr. Cornelius.
My whole life, Mike, I've been compared to this doll. And I know Mick had it pretty bad too.
You know, there was another incident when I was in school, and you know, my dad, he would try to, you know, compare our grades to even Cornelius, which is kind of ludicrous because, you know, Cornelius was a doll. How was he getting grades? And
you know, Mick never could live up to Cornelius, and I couldn't either. You know, Cornelius had baptized 50 Nigerians when he got invited to go to the mission trip, and I wasn't allowed to go because there wasn't enough room for me.
As you can see, I even tried to look like him, but you know, I just couldn't measure up to Cornelius. Cornelius was, you know, I guess he was almost his firstborn.
When I was in the Army, you know, I was a soldier, and Dad would tell me how they were fighting, you know, Cornelius and Zara were fighting, you know, Al-Qaeda in the Middle East. They were captured, held captive, and he managed to fight off, my dad said, 5 or 6 Al-Qaeda with his bare hands and rescued Zara. And, you know, I never could measure up to Cornelius having a Purple Heart. I was, you know, never good enough to be, you know, placed on the top shelf.
Just belittled us, and all in the name of Cornelius. It was just unheard of.
So, is Paul Cunningham on crack? Come to find out, these aren't the things we question about Paul. Well, maybe a little bit. But more importantly, these are the things we love about Paul the most. So, on behalf of First Baptist Church Los Alamos, Paul and Andrea, we love you guys. Happy anniversary. Hope you have a wonderful and fantastic day.